back with the much wanted Two Dudes One
Much
Podcast
anticipated the
content.
return.
No, Two Dudes One Closet podcast
Return of
content.
content. Two dudes, one content. That's
Two
kind of
Dudes
what it
One content.
is.
Basically.
Yeah, we're back. We're here. We're queer. We're not going anywhere. We're
I'm an Aquarius.
we took a few weeks off. Was it even a few weeks? I can't tell time anymore.
No, I'm pretty sure we did one the other day and I uploaded one the other day, so like it's not been that long.
Do you ever get that time? Do you ever feel this way? Because I feel this way sometimes, where it's just like you just every once in a while catch yourself, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, it's been like 5 days since I last
Showered.
not even showered." Where it's like it's just like 5 days have passed just like that, and I didn't do anything in that span of time.
I think about that all the time. I think about that in terms of like the last 3 years.
Yeah, well, yeah, very much so. I think about that a lot, where it's like, yeah, really, it's been a lot of time, and probably greater men could have accomplished
so much more. I think about that whenever I hear like a 22-year-old is like buying a house. And I'm like, how
I hate those
the fuck
people.
did you do that?
I've got this friend. He's like one of my best friends in the world. He's like, I don't know what it is with him. He's really smart. He's like an economic genius. He's made like a ton of money off of like Bitcoin
Oh
and
yeah,
like
I have
crypto
some
and
friends
shit
like
like
that.
that.
They make me so jealous.
Yeah, this guy's like a genius, and he's tried to like explain it to me, and I just like that's not like he's tried to like give me tips on like investing and shit, and it's just like
Is
that's
this the
not.
same guy that I talked to before?
Yeah, you've met Johnny.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he made me feel dumb.
Well, he's a very nice guy, and he's one of my best friends, but he makes me feel dumb all the time. So yeah.
Well, good for him. Good for him. That's why
Well,
I'm
he's
still in a
married.
90 Chevy Silverado with no upgrades. Nothing
Well,
special about it.
you know what they always say is like money doesn't buy happiness. But people
Oh,
who
it
say that are the
definitely.
ones who have it.
Yeah,
You know?
the people that say, okay, here's the thing. I don't know what the study was or something. I just heard the statistic that like the amount of money in America to like basically reach peak happiness before like the point where amount of money doesn't matter. I think it was like 100 grand or something. Like after that, it doesn't really change your happiness level too much at all. So
Yeah.
like people that are making 20 grand, yeah.
Yeah.
Money would definitely make them a
Money
lot
would make
happier.
you-
Right now,
money would make me a lot
right now
happier.
their happiness level is 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
So
Money would
fuck those people that
probably.
say that.
That's the thing, is because when you don't have, not to get too quote unquote philosophical, but when you don't have money, you're always worried about it, and then when you do, you just feel empty inside because you don't have anything to do because you're not hustling anymore. You don't have drive.
I don't feel that way at all. I start getting
Okay.
into hobbies and like being like, I can afford to do this now.
Fair enough.
And then when I don't have money, I have to stop doing those things, and I'm like,
But there are people like that who like their whole lives are just like them struggling and then like really fighting to get like to be somebody, and then when it finally works out for them, they're not as happy as they thought they would be because like their whole life work is because they're like 27
their whole
years
life
old
is work.
and they finally blew up, and then like they're not. It didn't make them feel as good as they thought it would.
Is there anybody you're
goal.
thinking of with this? I'm having a hard
I don't
time
know.
imagining this.
Just like rich people, you know. Why do you think rich people do what they do? Why do you think rich people have
because
private islands?
Listen, much like I love like certain sports, they're in love with the game. The game is gaining power and money. Gaining influence.
But it doesn't make them happy. It just gives them a reason to stay alive. It just gives them meaning. Whereas for you and I, meaning is...
Yeah, that's why Bezos is going to space. I mean, he's run out of shit to do.
Yeah, he's run out of shit to do here. Why do you think Jeffrey Epstein has an island where he goes and fucks underage girls? It's probably not because he I'm sure he likes it, but
I'm pretty sure
it's to have a new angle. And to have shit on people.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's all about getting angles on people. Like,
Yeah.
I got you on video doing this. So do what I want. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, that's how...
I don't know why I said Jeffrey Epstein is like an aspirational figure. I
didn't catch that.
I didn't like that. He was like a rich guy.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, we're talking about, because, we're both like gutter rats. We're from the streets, really. We're out here hustling every day to try and get our dreams out there. And, but as such, we've got some embarrassing stories from the world of stand-up comedy.
Oh yeah.
And we're just gonna spill some of those for you. So Lane, why don't you go first? We can talk about.
You want me to start? Okay.
Well, I'll let you start, and then I'll figure out what exactly like level of embarrassing we're gonna go for, because I don't want to bust out my like most embarrassing
I
stories
really don't have
that
too
quick.
many like super embarrassing stories from comedy specifically, but
I
like
can think of a few
you can think of a
for
few.
for
Do you
you.
want to tell me?
Yeah,
Because I would love to hear
well,
if you
I'm
think is
thinking
super embarrassing.
you know that one time where we were at
Is it
I'll be
Four
telling,
Seasons?
yeah, but it's a funny story.
Okay, well this is I already know what it is,
But
and
it
it's
is
not
a
that
funny.
embarrassing to me.
It's not embarrassing, but it's a funny
All right, well let's
story.
just we're holding it suspense, I
Fine, fine.
guess.
You sound embarrassed. But
I'm so embarrassed.
so Four Seasons is this bar in Birmingham.
Hmm. Four
It's a
Seasons.
very, very black crowd. Probably the
I
because
love how that's where you went with it first.
I'm lily white as just an individual, as a human being. So this is like, for my ass, this is probably the blackest place just that I've ever been.
What he's trying to say is there's no white people there.
There's no white people there except for like
There's no white people
Compton
there.
and
And Compton
occasionally.
is he's his own breed. He's not even
Yeah,
white.
he's not even white or
He's
black.
nothing.
He's like
He's an
a
enigma, an alien.
universal nice guy figure, but other than that, no, not really. So
He's Jesus.
yeah, so like yeah, that's what we're saying. He's Jesus. But no, so like we went. Well, it's your story. You talk about it.
I don't remember how this guy like even got to, I don't know where this guy came from, but like he basically was drunk off his ass, and I thought being on stage and him wanting to get on the mic, I thought in my dumb young comedian mind
Mhm.
that he was going to be my saving grace and actually doing well at this place for once and like say some funny shit and help me like say some funny shit. And the exact opposite happened. He took the mic and he rambled, and nobody knew what he was saying. Everyone was bored, and eventually the host came up and took the mic from both of us. Told me, "You're done,"
Yeah,
and I walked off stage, and I just like, I don't know. The rest of the night was like the worst night of my life. Like I just wanted to come home and like fucking put a bullet in my head.
that's a
So,
that's a good story, but that's not even the one I was talking about.
oh
I was
shit,
talking
there's
about
something worse.
the one where the guy wanted to fight you.
That's not embarrassing at all.
It's a good story.
I'm proud of that.
No, but it's a good story.
Okay, all right.
Tell you
So
that
this
one.
this story. Okay, so before I go on stage, right before I go on stage, the host decides that he wants to start picking on this guy that hasn't been quite shutting up, and this guy is dressed in such a weird way all around. He's got like old grandpa tan pants.
Mhm.
Um, he's got a baggy black sweater that says Snickers on it, like a giant Snickers logo, and he's wearing like white New Balances. You know, like this guy is just fucking weird. And he walks like he's got something he's trying to hide between his butt cheeks. You know what I mean? So
Probably a gun. One of
maybe
these African Americans. No, I'm
maybe he
kidding.
got shot in the ass. Maybe that's how he walks now.
That's maybe.
Um so anyways, the host is just shitting on this guy on the way this guy looks for like 10 minutes. And then I have to go up there, and I was pretty worried about that, but I was like I might be able to turn this around for myself by putting in the final like nail in the coffin on this guy.
Sure, sure. It was
So
one of your best lines ever, if I can be honest.
yeah,
It's a
so
good line.
I'm really happy I came up with it right before. I'm glad I was next
Mhm.
for this to be happening. So he calls me up on stage, and I say this. I'm sorry the host was picking on you so much. He's not him when he's hungry. And then everyone bursts out laughing. This guy is officially like he's over the edge. He's gonna kill me now, and he can't walk fast enough in his grandpa fashion to
Also,
get to
people were
me.
like holding him back, but he
Yeah,
started like screaming in the middle of this club.
he's like,
He was like,
you come get it, white boy, come get it, white boy."
he like yelled shit about a white boy for like six
Listen,
minutes or something.
listen. You know what's great about it is anytime anybody's wanted to fight me, my heartbeat like it's immediately raised, like obviously,
Sure.
but I was so calm in that situation. I was like, nothing's gonna happen, get the fuck out of
It
here.
was maybe the best moment I've seen you
It
on
was
stage. It was
awesome.
very good.
I was very
Um,
chillaxed. I was like, that was great.
and I saw that guy outside the club later, and people were like still trying to calm him down, and he was like smoking something, and he was just like there. He was like, I mean, I woulda.
I mean, I
I
would.
mean, I still woulda. And people were like, yeah, we know you. Yeah. Like they were just trying to be
They're
nice, and
just
they were
like,
like,
totally, dude, totally. You got
it's like,
man. Oh my god.
yeah.
Yeah, he would have been fucked. I would have sweeped his gimp leg.
I've never seen you fight anybody. I kind of wish that you had fought him that night. It
That
would
would
have
have been
been
that would have
funny.
been a good chance to like have my first like
Yeah.
comedian bar fight.
Would have been funny too that your first comedian bar fight would have been against like a black dude in this all black club and everybody would I don't know if I can't tell if they would have been on your side or not. I mean, I would have been on your side, of course, but
I feel like in that situation, all they would do is pull us apart.
yeah, I
I feel
think
like
probably
that
both
would
of
be
you
the
would be
situation.
asked to leave,
Yeah.
which would mean that I also would leave. And
Yeah.
probably a lot of people would leave because it would be very uncomfortable.
Oh,
But
it'd be funny though.
I miss Four Seasons. I really don't ever want to go back there. I did horrible every time we went there.
Yeah,
Well, that
yeah.
goes to
I
one of
haven't
my
got
stories.
I kept it up for a while, but I was like, this is a lot of gas and money, and
Well, you and
it
I
feels like
used
it's never
to
worth it.
we used to go into Birmingham on Wednesdays to do that,
Yep,
and it always
we would be there right now if we decided to go there.
wait, no, today's Thursday.
Oh shit, never mind. We
But
would have
yeah,
been there last night.
we would have been there last night. It was yeah, I don't know, never very fun, but I'm glad we did it
You
because
know,
it's good to have
you
stuff
know
like
what I
that, I
loved
guess.
about it?
What?
Not really. This is sarcasm, but like sometimes I would go on stage and, I would get met with very tepid responses, like just very few people laughing or
Mm,
whatever, maybe nothing at all. And then after I get off stage, a guy or girl or somebody would come up to me and be like, I like you what you were trying there. You're the only guy that had like, original shit." And I'm like,
mm.
"Okay, well, next time laugh, please."
Yeah. You
Next
can always tell there that when people say that they actually mean it.
That's
Like
true.
they're
It
just
made
being
me feel better,
nice.
man.
Yeah.
Like, then please don't be scared and laugh because I feel like if you laugh, maybe other people will like actually listen.
Yeah.
If somebody hears if you're being ignored, literally being ignored, and then people around you start laughing, then they're gonna like turn their heads and be like, okay, what is he talking about? Because people are laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, it just annoys the shit out of me.
Well, my story there, to be honest, it's not as like flamboyant and like cool as Lane's, but it was funny nonetheless because what happened was I just like I don't know what was up with me that night, but you do have nights where you just like go on stage and you're just like you feel like a fucking fart in the wind. Like you
Yeah,
just have nothing. You just like have nothing to say. And so what
feel
happened
that way at
was
Jackie's all the time.
yeah, so there was this lady there, female comic, and I don't know why. Like the first thing I decided to try and do, I just started looking at her and I was going like, look at you. I just got a big old crush on you, lady. I just want to take you out to dinner. I just like started
Yeah,
saying
you
shit
just
like
started
that.
saying like
It
it's
didn't.
not even like it's not even jokes.
No.
It sounds like just a clammy dude trying to like.
It was and I thought that was funny and I was just like and then I was like okay and then I just like decided to try my actual material.
And everybody was like, "What the fuck was
People
that?"
were like very like weirded out
They were so creeped out by
by
that
it.
because you had nothing to back it up.
I don't
You had
care.
no joke.
I still think that's very funny. I think it's hilarious to go on
Oh
stage
fuck.
and pick on some random person in the audience and
Uh,
just be like, look at you. I just want to kiss you. I just want to take you out on a date. That's all
you
I
know
care
what? I
about.
think you
I'm
should
not
try
even
that
joking.
again Monday.
I
I
think
think you try
I'm
that
gonna
again
make that part of
Blackwater.
my act actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you need some new jokes, right? You said
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
Go
it's
ahead and
cool.
figure out how to write that in
I
as like
think
an
I'm just
actual
gonna
funny joke.
be like, honestly, I'm not even joking right now. I'm very attracted to you, and I know it. I mean, like make my voice crack and just be like, I know it's not
Maybe, maybe,
common.
maybe even like take it a step further.
Yeah,
Be like, I want you to meet my parents. Come out, mom and dad. Just be like, I'm just kidding.
but I think it would be funnier if I were just like, no, seriously, I'm not joking. I see a future, and just like really just like make some random like lady or something
Like, I
just
just want to
like
get that white picket fence house with you and
uncomfortable.
get that trampoline in the back that I'm gonna bust my ankles on when I play with the kids. But that's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
we
You know,
can, well,
we can both make terrible yeah, elementary school teacher
I'll
wages.
dress up as Santa, and I'll put their presents down so that when little Bobby and little Timmy come down and peek behind the stairs, they'll see Santa's delivering their presents. But it won't even be Santa; it'll just be me, baby, because I'll do that for us,
And every night,
a family.
every night when they're asleep, we'll move the elf on the shelf to somewhere different. We'll come
I'll
up with a cool story for it later.
I'll be making substitute teacher wages. I don't even care. I'll spend every dime on those
I'll
kids.
be making gym teacher wages. I
Yeah,
don't give a shit.
I'll just do shit like that. That I might make that part of my act now because I think that's very funny. But what happened at Four Seasons that didn't work out? Because after that, I just like tried to start doing my actual material, and I just felt horrible. And I just was like, you know what? Nobody can keep me up here. There's no real reason for me to. So like after 2 minutes, which I think is the shortest I've ever gone, after 2 minutes, I just like put the mic back in the stand. And you know what they do there? It's really mean. They're really mean when
Oh
someone
yeah, 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 yeah.
bombs, and I
Yeah,
don't appreciate it.
they'll do like a wah, 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 like they'll
They'll
do
like
like
do
a some
radio
kind of
DJ
yeah.
noises. I felt like I was on the fucking
Be like that
Breakfast
was
Club.
shit.
Yeah, they'll like play a like sound sample of like some old
You know
like
it's
soul song.
all being recorded constantly with every
Yeah,
fucking mic. They have a camera there, so you know that like there's somewhere on the internet
that footage
there's a
exists.
bunch
Yeah,
of
yeah,
bunch of weeks in line where like two white boys go there and just continuously bomb,
yeah.
and then they just don't come back.
I'll come back eventually. I just don't want to do it anytime soon.
Anytime soon. Not
But
today.
no, it actually gave me a false sense of confidence because the first time I went to the black, it wasn't Four Seasons, but we went to that one black club in
Yeah, that
Birmingham
was
that
the
one time.
only time we ever went there. Wasn't that weird?
Yeah, then they moved the venue somewhere else. But
Yeah.
I did fine that time. I like went on after midnight and I was just exhausted and like drunk, so I didn't really care and I just like started talking a bunch of bullshit and it kind of worked. So like that gave me a false sense of confidence in front
Yeah.
of like black rooms where like the next several times
Well,
I went up, I just
again, here's
was
what's good about
terrible.
that room. Here's what was great about that room, and I really wish they had kept it there, was that everyone in that room was watching.
Mhm.
No, like there was nobody that wasn't paying attention and shutting the fuck up.
Mhm.
In the other room, everyone's got their own group, so like they're celebrating a birthday party. They all want to be talking to each
What
other.
the fuck is it always
There
a
was
fucking
always a fucking
birthday?
birthday party every time we went there. They're like, "It's the birthday
Black
girl!"
people must have like 6 birthdays a year each.
Oh my god, there's so many birthdays. Yeah. So it was not a good setting, and it is a much larger bar that had people like all sitting like far across the room, and the stage was vaguely just a giant corner of it. So like, wasn't that good of a setting. They really fucked it up going there.
Mhm.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it works for them somehow that we're not thinking of, but I do agree that that's not really where I would want to do a mic were I doing one.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think there's probably somewhere in your brain an embarrassing story about you like saying some of your really gay jokes and dudes being like, "Mm-mm." He's
well, that does happen.
none
That
of this shit, bro.
yeah, that happened. Well, the whole point of the gay jokes is that I'm trying to shock people because
Yeah, you're going for shock
I think it's
comedy.
funny to just like totally make everybody in the room like uncomfortable.
Hmm.
But like yeah,
Not laugh. He doesn't want them to laugh.
not always.
Make them uncomfortable.
Sometimes I think it's it because I'm there for
You
myself. I
really
think
made that girl
it's
uncomfortable.
yeah, yeah.
You did well then.
Exactly. Because I'm there for myself. I want people to have a good time, but sometimes I'm more interested in what makes me laugh and what I think is funny. But like in that case,
It
it
backfired.
sometimes does backfire when it just like completely ruins the rest of the set. Because that's an
Yeah.
intro. When I do that, that's the starting point of the whole
That
set.
is always the starting. You've
It's
never put that at the end. You've never put it in the
no, I
middle.
wouldn't put it
You
in the
always want
middle
it to be right at the beginning,
because
so people let people know what they're in for.
well, you got to get people's. I mean, I do genuinely think you have to get people's attention somehow. Like
Yeah.
sometimes people are just like talking to
You
each
know
other.
what? You know what that gets you at Jackie's Lounge? Because
Exactly.
I started off a set
God,
talking about that like giant dick I ran into in the bathroom.
why the fuck didn't you warn me that they were homophobic? Lane.
I
They
started
wouldn't appreciate my
about
style.
a dude that was like so tall and his dick was so massive and he was just standing with it pointed at the door when I walk into the bathroom. So I essentially walked into it, and I start off my set with that joke, and this dude, it was like the first night too, I think. It was like the first or second night, but this really fucking like near dead dude
Hmm.
was sitting there, and he was turned around, and then immediately he just went, ugh, and fucking turned back around.
Oh God, yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
Jackie's is a tough spot. I don't think I have ever done well there. I hope to do well there one day.
Yeah, it's kind of like if Four Seasons was here,
Well, it's
like if
like
it
a
was
Four
just
Seasons or
conveniently
like a
here.
trucker bar instead of a black guy bar.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I'm just thinking it's like the same level of difficulty, but with only white people, I guess.
Yeah, a
Like,
little bit.
and it's in town. That's why we do it.
I guess that this is probably racist, but that probably is why I like Four Seasons just a little bit more, is because like they still don't laugh at you, but like this is racist, but like you're like a
Go ahead. You've
is
said
it
a lot of fucked up shit this whole
I
episode, so
know
like,
I'm
go
terrible,
ahead.
but like
How
with
much
it being
whiskey did you
like
get?
well, at Four Seasons, there's like an element of like, yeah, white boy, you can't just come into our club and you think we're just gonna like treat you like massa or just
Jesus. You
there's shit like that,
listen,
and
Avery. Do you remember that
I'm
time?
so
Do
racist.
you remember the
Sorry.
time that we went to Four Seasons and I decided to play pool with a random gentleman, and
You
then
did that all the time there.
okay, well there was one time specifically that this one of the comedians, I can't remember his name, but he came up to me and he told me, he was like, "You know that guy's like a really like dangerous drug dealer, right?" And I was like,
You
had
did tell me about
had no
this.
clue. Had no clue. I just beat him in pool. Do you think he's gonna kill me for it? Like, do you
Damn,
think my life is on the line now?
some real Breaking Bad shit, man. That
Yeah.
could have been Tuco.
That could have been Toko. He's pissed and he just comes up and just like fucking swings the
Yeah,
pool stick at my head.
yeah.
He's like, you fucking beat me. Yeah.
Gringo piece of shit.
This guy wasn't Mexican,
Well,
right?
still, well,
This guy.
I don't know. I'm racist. I do have black friends though. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, you start off with that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
always works. What are you supposed to say though?
That's no, that's the
What are you
one thing
supposed to say?
that became a thing where it was a thing black people said,
Hmm.
and there's like a history behind this. It was a thing black people said to make fun of like white liberal dudes who like don't actually have that many like who
Or they
aren't
don't even hang out with them.
educated. Yeah, but like
Yeah.
that was the thing where they're like, yeah, I have a black friend, and like black people started making fun of that, and then the same like liberalish dudes like heard that and they were like, because white people do actually ruin everything. They like heard that and they were
Yeah.
like, oh, that's funny, and so they started doing
That's
that.
funny.
They were like, that's funny. Yeah, you don't even have any black friends. Oh, you're just like supposed to like, yeah, I have a black friend. And so now you have this entire like group of people who don't have black friends making fun of people who do have black friends
Or telling
for
other
saying
people that they
it.
have black friends, and all the black people can do, they can do math, so they know that like some of us are lying.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're like, yeah, they can't trust anybody. So any white dude that's like, I have black friends, are like, yeah, sure, buddy,
Mhm.
sure, sure you have.
Well, it is like it is gay as hell to be like, no, I have black friends.
It is pretty
I'm
gay.
like,
That's
but
why
like still to like,
I don't say it.
yeah, but to like be a white dude who's like, oh yeah, you probably are like the type of white dude who's like, oh, I have black friends, and then you don't have black friends yourself. It's just like, well, you're still
Oh yeah.
racist. Yeah, you are kind of.
Yeah, any dude, I don't know. I don't want to hang out with somebody that's like, I think you're an actual racist, buddy.
Yeah, no, that's stupid. And people who do that are usually like racist in some way themselves. So.
Yeah. Anyhow, do
Hmm.
you have any other embarrassing
Embarrassing
stories?
stories. The
Yeah.
last like 3 weeks, yeah. Those have all been pretty
Yeah.
embarrassing for me. I mean, my most embarrassing story is the J.R. Kincaid thing with the foot.
Oh,
Very,
that's
very.
dude, that was the worst.
It's a good story, actually. I just
That was
can't
the
tell it to
worst to
anybody
sit
because they
through.
like. I can't ever tell people
Oh,
that story because they every time I do, I'm like, yeah, but in retrospect, it's kind of funny, and they always look at me like they're like, "Are you okay? Like, do you need to call the cops?" And I'm like,
it is
"Catch it
funny.
up."
It is funny.
It's a good story.
It's funnier as we get away from it because originally it was just so
It
uncomfortable.
was unbelievably uncomfortable. So,
He's like,
should
I
I
will
just
fucking rape you.
should I just tell the whole story?
Yeah.
I don't have any ill will towards this man at the moment, by the
No,
way.
no, we're literally saying that we find it funny at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
We just think
I'm fine with him.
the way he did it, we knew what he was
The
going
most
for.
uncomfortable I've ever been
We as
in a public
comedians know
space.
that sometimes your jokes don't go well.
Yeah.
And he was trying to be funny with it, but he just wasn't.
Well, I was already having like a really bad night, and that's while we were still
Just beach
doing.
biz. Anybody having a good night?
No, but what happened was you and I were trying to do a podcast episode that night, and we smoked like weed, and we were watching like some Disney movie or something, and you were like, "Oh, they're having a mic at Peach Pit, bro. You got to come with me." And I really
I
didn't
think it was
want
the
to.
last mic, wasn't
Yeah, it was like one of the last ones there, and
it?
I was like, "Ugh, I really do not want to. I guess I will." And so I like just went near, and I didn't have any of my shit with me. Like I didn't have anything written down. So I went with
Yeah,
you. I
yeah.
was like stoned and like out of my comfort zone, and I was just like sitting there, really like fucking in a bad mood already. Peach Pit, never a good place to do, well, to do comedy, really. Never a good place
It's
to
not a good
go.
place for creativity or any kind
It's
of
not a good
things
place to
outside
if
of
you want
sports.
to try to say funny things on stage in front of people. It's not a good spot, but I went nevertheless. So I actually have this whole night is like seared into my memory. So what happened was I went on stage because Lauren was hosting that night. She like went on. She did
Oh, I
several
love that.
minutes, and I like went on stage right after her, and I like tried to make a quip about her that I thought would be funny, where I was like, "Well, I'm not like a cute indie girl, so people aren't gonna like pretend that I'm funny, so I'm kind of fucked." And I thought that was funny, but it like came off as like insulting and then like kind of just rude, and like nobody laughed at it, and I was like, "Shit." And so I just like I stumbled through probably the most uncomfortable 5 minutes I have ever had on stage in front of anybody. And so I just like afterwards, I just like totally like slunk back to my seat like a fucking like loser. And like
Yep.
Brooks, when he was still hosting those, like went on stage and he was like, "Avery, that was an interesting set," and that's all he said. And I was just like already feeling like I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah.
Like I did not
Yeah.
think the night could get worse.
A lot of these comedians, when you've already been punched quite a bit,
Oh
just by
yeah,
the
there's
time
this brotherhood.
they will come up and just punch you one last time, just one more.
Yeah, no, there's no love in the heart of the city, man. But like so what happened then was JR had asked to go on right after me. So backstory on this: a few weeks beforehand, in the Peach Pit, JR, who is a bald man who makes a lot of jokes about pornography, sex, and the fact that he is in a polyamorous relationship. Um,
Does he make any jokes outside of that, Avery?
Not that many. It's debatable whether the other
I would argue
comments.
I haven't heard any.
Yeah, not that many. He
Because I
talks
can't
about it a
remember
lot.
any outside of that.
He talks about it a lot. That is going to be that's important to know about this man. So what happened after that was or no, what happened a few weeks beforehand was he like was limping around the Peach Pit,
Yeah.
and I like went up to him and I was like, "Ah, you all right,
What
man?"
happened to his foot? Do you remember?
What happened was I went up and I was like, "Your foot all right?" And he was like, "Yeah, I dropped a 20-pound weight on it at the
That's right.
gym this
That's what I
week."
thought.
So his foot was hurting because he dropped a weight on it, and he was like sitting on a bar stool, and so he like his legs were crossed. He like poked his foot out at me, and I don't know why I did this. I like grabbed his foot,
Mm.
which
I love what
I
happens
thought that he
next.
might have been joking.
I
I thought he was like
wish I had it
joking or
on
something.
video and it was like, like the "We'll be right back," like
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
Well,
dun.
I thought that it would be like funny of me to like grab his foot and be like, "Oh, yeah, are you okay?" Like pretend I was like a doctor or something. I like touched it. I barely touched it. He like fucking like shrieked because apparently he was in a great deal of pain, which I
Mm,
exacerbated by hurting his foot more.
yep.
He like screamed and I was like, "Oh, sorry, man," and I like felt really bad about it, and I just like throughout the rest of that night I would just like see him glaring at me every once in a while, and like so at the end of the night I walked up to him and I was like,
How
"Hey."
bad does it hurt that you're literally glaring at
I
somebody
know
all
it.
day?
That's my fucking thing. I don't think it hurt that bad.
Like I didn't
I
see
mean,
you
I'm sorry
poke
I
his
did it.
fucking foot. Like it didn't.
I'm sorry I did it, man, but I don't think it hurt that. Whatever. We're good now. But anyway, so like he's like glaring at me, and I like went up to him at the end of the night, and I was like, "So yeah, are we okay, man? Didn't mean to hurt your foot. I feel bad about it." And he like laughed and like he's always like trying to be the Joker or something, but like he like he like did a Joker laugh and like acted weird. And so the next time I saw him was at the next Peach Pit. He went on stage and like
He had written a love song for Avery
he went on stage right after me, and
after that event.
after doing, I don't know, 3 minutes, 2 minutes maybe of his like usual comedy routine, he like started talking a ton about how he was gonna rape me and like drug me and take me to his house and like have him and like his like cadre of girlfriends like all take turns raping me and shit. And it just
That
was
doesn't
like,
even sound that bad. Unless it's,
I
I'm
don't want
guessing,
anyone to rape me, Lane.
I'm
Don't take
guessing,
a
I'm
side in
guessing we're
this.
taking it in the butt, so that is bad. Never
I'm
mind.
I don't want any of this to happen without my consent is the point I'm
I
making.
mean, he's always with hot girls.
That it, so beside the point.
Alright,
But
continue.
anyway, he's like, yeah, he's like
Continue.
talking about like drugging me and like
Yeah,
roofing me and shit, and it
not good
was
stuff.
so what happened after that was like I was just like sitting, and I should have walked out. I don't know why I didn't. I just like sat there and took it while he like stared at me the entire time, and like midway through, Lauren just like went up and took the mic from him, and I just like turned to Lane and I was like, please let's go, because you had driven me there and I just like did not want to be there. So like you and I went outside, smoked a cigarette, and then
Yeah,
I was like, can you just, you can come back if you want to, just take me to my car so I can leave. I want to get the fuck away from people right now.
yeah.
So I just like went home after that and just was like, it genuinely the most uncomfortable thing that has ever happened to me during stand up. And if it ever gets beaten, if there's ever like a story that ranks above that in terms of the most god awful shit in the world, I would love to hear it. But for right now, it is definitely unbeaten.
Oh, like from me? I thought you meant like if you were ever gonna beat it in your own life.
Yeah, in my life, I don't think I ever will. If I do, that would be
Hmm.
great, but I don't think I will. Do
That'd
you
be
have a
great.
story more uncomfortable than that? I don't think so.
No, I don't.
No,
I don't think
exactly.
so. I mean, RJ has definitely belittled me quite a bit on stage before, but
Well,
I don't think it was anywhere near as bad as that.
with RJ,
I think it pales in comparison.
RJ shits on everybody, and
Yeah,
it kind of makes him a little bit difficult to be friendly with, but he's generally a nice
I
guy.
think there was a night where he targeted me quite a bit, and there's been a night where he targeted you quite a bit.
Yeah, he's been mean to me. I'm not gonna lie, but I like RJ.
Yeah, I like him too.
I would hang with RJ.
I did hang with RJ.
Did you?
Yeah,
What was that like?
it was interesting.
What? When did this happen? Was this over the summer?
No, it was like a couple weeks ago, I
Was I
think. I don't know where you were.
was I in Florida?
I
I
was,
wasn't in Florida, but was this
I
where I
was just
was
at
at?
Houndstooth. Like you weren't even. I didn't think you were here.
Well, more
Yeah.
you know, guys. Because I've been trying to buddy up with RJ for a long time.
If you were here, I would have like knocked on your door and be like, "Hey, I'm about to go do this. Do you want to come?" Because I usually do that, don't I?
Yeah, you usually do.
There we go.
Good
Thank you.
point. I just that's I didn't know that RJ and you were better friends than he and I.
We only hung out once, and it was kind of it was an interesting experience, just because like at one point we were just like sitting in like a VIP or like stage kind of area in a bar,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just sitting there by ourselves like on these nice couches, and I
Is this
tried.
a Houndstooth?
No, it was not at Houndstooth. We like moved bars after Houndstooth, but we like tried. I tried to get like some girls that he was friends with to come sit with us, and I guess I came off as creepy or some shit, so
Sure,
like they
sure.
didn't join. And then these random people joined us, and in front of these random people, RJ tried to teach me how to dance in my fucking boots, which was the most horrible experience ever. I looked retarded, and the night ended with just me feeling kind of bad about myself and being drunk.
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I didn't miss out on that much.
No, you really didn't.
This
We
is gonna sound weird, but
we just had interesting talks.
I'm trying to think who's a person from comedy who I haven't one on one hung out with that I would probably not. I'd be down to hang with RJ. I don't know if I'd like text him out of the blue or anything. I've hung out with
You definitely could. I mean, that's what I did.
no, sure, I know I could. I don't know if I want to. I've hung out with Jeremiah and Cole a few times now, actually.
See, I've never hung out with them.
Yeah, they invited me to go to a strip club with them one time. I wasn't able to go.
This is such horseshit. They compliment me and shit, and they act buddy with me, but like they don't invite me to shit. What the fuck?
No, I don't know. It was actually okay, really funny one
They
time.
hit you up for doing like the skit shit, which I was like trying to get on in on too. and then like
Is
they always leave
we're
me out. They
buddies.
always leave me out.
Three
I
of
don't
us
know
were
why. I don't know
buddies.
why
I
they
don't
do
know if
that.
there's room for a fourth right now, Lane.
I've made them laugh so many times, and they think I'm like I don't know.
We're
I'm
a
lower.
perfect tricycle right now. I don't know if there's room to make this into a full-on car, but
Two black
no,
dudes,
I'm
two white guys. It's
joking.
perfect. What are you talking
No,
about?
I'm joking.
It's
I'm
half and
joking.
half.
I know a funny story about that. One time
I guess they want an
I
Oreo.
was hanging out with a group of friends, and there was a female friend of mine there, and both of them were trying really, really hard to have sex with her, and it didn't happen. But it was really funny the way they were going about it. So it was this girl named Victoria.
God, isn't it funny to watch from the outside and it's so
Yeah.
uncomfortable? You're like,
So
oh fuck.
what happened was it was this girl named Victoria, and like it was several people. We were all sitting around in this like circle, and we started doing improvised hip hop where one person would beatbox and the other guy would like try and like spit a few bars on top of it. And so like
Hmm.
I what
This
happened
sounds uncomfortable.
so this girl was sitting there and she was like being really nice to both of them and stuff. She's kind of a whore, honestly. No, I'm kidding. I like this girl. But like yeah, she was there and they were doing that and like in the middle of one of their raps, there was like her name was Victoria. He was like, Vicky C, want to spread you out on the sheets, want to fill you up with my sweet
Fuck,
cream.
that
It was
is.
just like doing shit like that, and then in the middle of his
She
and then
just gets up and leaves.
no, she didn't. She was really nice about the whole thing, and then afterwards he was like, "You like my shout out?" He's like, you see when I shouted you out, girl?"
It's like everyone saw
It's
it,
like,
dude.
yeah,
Everyone saw it.
it was really uncomfortable. I don't know why he decided to do because they're
It's like,
charismatic
why don't you
guys.
just beatbox like good? And
Yeah, well,
why don't you just rap good?
it was fucking
And then maybe
strange,
she'll
man.
like you.
It was very weird.
Fucking A, that is some
A
awful
lot
shit
of
to hear.
lot of funny stories, but well, funny stories with them mostly is just like this one time they brought me to a they told me it was an open mic in like Birmingham, but it wasn't. First of all, it wasn't even in Birmingham, and then
I
it
remember
wasn't
they tricked
even
me like that too.
it wasn't in Birmingham, and it wasn't an open mic. It
Well,
was it was 2 hours long in this like
did you not Google Maps this shit and see that it was 2 hours?
no, it wasn't 2 hours away. It was like the place itself, the actual show was 2 hours long.
Oh jeez.
And it wasn't an open mic, and I'll tell you, it was like maybe five or six comedians. And they all went on so fucking long. And they just like did not stop. And they invited me, so I wanted to like be nice and like act
Were
like
they
I was
funny? You sound like
they
they.
weren't funny.
Okay,
They weren't funny at
saying
all.
it's like they're not funny.
They
Like,
were not
they're
funny
like
in the
they
fucking
just talked for
slightest.
so long and it was not funny.
They were not funny in the fucking slightest, and I had been invited to this thing. And first of all, it
How did
was
that
like
make you feel? That like you weren't on this show and they like made you come
it
to
wasn't
this
even the thing
terrible.
with that. It was just in the moment I was just like so bored, and I had like driven to pick up. I had driven with Jeremiah to pick up Cole, and then from his house he drove us. So I didn't have my car or anything. It's not like I could leave. I just
Yeah.
was stuck there I went out for like 5 cigarettes during this show, and we were on like a shady fucking side of town, of like a really shady side of town. Like it was a lot of like
A lot of
people
homeless
like
people
staring
walking
at
by.
yeah, it was
Doing
like a lot of
is
people
this a good
staring at me
thing?
because I always wear like my sandals and shit, and so I was just like wearing sandals there. It was like a black ass
Some
venue.
shady dude with like a hood up asked you for a cigarette. You're like, oh fuck, here it goes.
Yeah, it was like shit like that, and like
Yeah.
people the whole night when I was inside were like pointing at my shoes and being like, "So he a cop?" And they were like talking to Jeremiah and Cole, and they were being like, "He a cop, right?" And I was like,
Everybody says that when you're a white dude. Everybody
"Yeah."
fucking says that.
It's like I'm not a cop, bro.
Every
A
white dude
cab.
looks like a cop. Apparently, if you don't have like some tattoos on your neck or something, every white dude looks like a cop.
Yeah, literally, and it was funny because in the middle of they were like serving food there, and in the middle of the show, because I just like was so bored, I like went up and tried to order some food, and they were like, and I was like, "You guys take cash?" And they were like, "No, we be taking Cash App," and it was like it was like $10 for all this like chicken, and it wasn't even very good.
Dude, what is small business is always more expensive.
Yeah, it really
It's
is.
always so expensive.
Ugh, it was
But I mean, that's what
interesting night.
it makes sense. I mean, there's I don't know. They have overhead, right?
Yeah. Funny
I'm
story.
kidding.
One funny story about that though is that when I was driving Jeremiah back to Tuscaloosa, he and I stopped at McDonald's because we were really fucking hungry, and like he started try. I respect both of their horniness because like he just like started flirting with this girl who worked at the McDonald's, and he was like, "Me and this guy, we famous, we
Oh yeah.
comedians. You need to come to one of our shows sometime. We famous." And then she was like,
Famous people don't be
"Okay."
like, we famous.
Yeah, I know. It was just like I was just like the whole time I was just like because I was driving too. I just had to. I was like
One
sitting there.
Google search and she will know you're not
They were
famous.
like, yeah, and they were like talking over me, and he was just being like, "Nah, girl, look us up, we famous." And then I was just like sitting there, I was like, "Why are you trying this right now? It is 1 a.m. and I am
Yeah, for
really
real.
tired."
Like, are we both gonna get laid at this girl's house?
I doubt it, and I at this point, it's looking doubtful I'll get my chicken tendies.
It's looking doubtful
Looking
I'll
kind of
even get
doubtful.
food.
Yeah, yeah.
I might starve too.
So, yeah, funny stories all around.
For real.
Awkward comedy shit, I guess.
You got any work stories? I could tell us a work story.
Okay, funny. This is kind of a funny
Uh,
story, and it just goes back into my kind of awkward relationship around black
Actually,
people. Do you want to?
well, okay, I'll tell a story afterwards, but it won't be work related.
Well, there was a funny story because in high school I worked at Chick-fil-A for like 3 years, and I didn't like have any. I had a few friends who worked there, but like I wasn't really. But I like knew them already. I wasn't like really like friends with anybody from Chick-fil-A. But there was like this older black guy, like a really like I'm not trying to be racist, but he was like a really tough looking guy. Like he was really like muscular.
Was he tough looking or was he really black looking?
Well,
What are you
both.
trying to say here?
Both. I mean, he was really strong. He was like very, he was a big dude, you know. He was all that shit. So like
Large black man. Got
yeah, he
it.
was a large black guy. He was like kind of, I mean, he was a nice guy and everything, but he was like he was really tough. And so like in high school, I listened to a lot of rap music, and I listened to a lot of older rap music too. So I like I'm not gonna say I like knew the culture or whatever, but I knew some
You
hip.
knew some of the struggle
I
in the
knew no,
lyrics.
I just knew some like hip hop artists that maybe that like other like
No,
white
dude,
boys
you
who worked at the
vibed. You were like,
Chick-fil-A.
I get it.
Well, what happened was
I've
I
been on
knew
these streets for a minute.
no, but here's the funny story: is that I knew one artist. It was a group named Clips. You heard of Clips?
No.
Well, they were in the 2000s, and I like started talking about Clips with him one day, and he just looked at me and he was like, "You know Clips?" And I was like, "Yeah, yes, I know
Yeah.
Clips. I've been listening to what are you talking to? I've been listening to Clips my whole life." And he was just like, "I'm amazed that this white boy right here knows." And he like started calling me the N word, and he was just being like, you know, he was like doing all that, and I felt really good
You're
about it.
like,
But
did
like,
I just get the card? Did I
I
just
felt
get
good.
the N
It
word card?
felt so good. But like what happened also that was funny was because that was like I didn't know that much about hip hop, and he like would he so like for the rest of the time I worked there, every now and then he would like come up to me and like start talking to me about artists that I didn't know,
You're
and
like,
he would
ah,
just be
fuck, I'm out of my element now.
I know he would just be like
I knew like three artists in
yeah.
in the deep
I
end.
happened to know an obscurish artist that you like, and now you think that I'm just gonna like be able to like vibe with you about shit. So I had to like fake my way through a lot of
I've done
conversations.
that so many times.
Yeah.
I've done that so many times with the same exact genre too. Cause like I was listening to like Q-Tip and like a Tribe Called Quest,
Yeah,
and
what's Tribe Called Quest?
this guy was like, "Oh my God, you know all these these people or whatever," and he just started spitting the same shit to me, and I was just like, "Totally, dude."
Mm,
And somehow I faked my way through like an hour-long car ride.
yeah.
Like at some point they get bored of that topic and we can move on. I can
It's
talk
always
to someone.
very awkward when you like you luck into knowing something that somebody else cares about, and you have to
Hmm.
like pretend that you know all about that thing
Hmm.
when you really don't, and it's just
Why
like
do we do that? Why can't we just like sometimes I have the balls to just be like, well, I listen to this, but I don't know much else. Like, why not
well,
just say that and get out of
well, it's
this
very natural to
conundrum?
want to come across well to people. You know, everybody wants to seem likable and cool to people they don't
Yeah,
know that well. When
that
you're
bit right
friends, you
there.
don't really care.
That's true.
Like, I don't care that much about impressing my friends,
Yeah,
but people I don't know, I'm really care about impressing. So
that's a weird thing, isn't
it is odd. It is
it?
definitely odd.
Yeah. Well, anywho,
Yeah, what's your story?
so in high school, I did this exact thing in order to try and get in this girl's pants.
Nice.
So so I did this exact thing, but with like heavy metal music, right? And she's not even like that hot. I just thought she, might be easy. Like that was literally the idea that I had. So I go on a date with this girl and it becomes like a group date thing, and I'm dressed like such a fucking white boy while all of her friends are dressed like fucking metalheads, and
Yeah.
and they're making jokes. They're making jokes about me spreading her out on the fucking like McDonald's table and shit. And I'm like,
But
and I'm like so uncomfortable.
that's
And it's like
uncomfortable.
I'm wearing like a button up shirt, and I'm just like, okay, great idea.
Oh, was this in
Maybe next
Colorado?
time. Yeah, this was in Colorado,
Nice. It's
and
tough, Colorado kids.
yeah, so I mean, we had a mix of weirdos. So I'm dating this girl for like a few weeks, and it was just uncomfortable all throughout because I was, I was still like a little beta male bitch. I was still a little like out of my element with these things. So one day she texts me out of the blue while I'm at home because I'm at the time I'm sitting trying to figure out ways to break up with this girl,
Hmm.
and she texts me out of the blue something along the lines of like, "So is that it? Are we done?"
You were
And
like, yes.
yeah, I literally was just like, "Don't know what you," or no, I didn't say I don't know what you're talking about. I was just like, sure. Like, like I just went, sure. So she was like, "You're such a piece of shit. I can't believe you." And I was just like, I mean, I'm sorry, I guess if you loved me that much, like I
Yeah, it
don't know
sounds
what to
like
say. The
you
feeling isn't mutual.
seems like she didn't even like you that much. That's funny.
No, she doesn't seem like it at all. But here's what happened is a few weeks later, like a month later or something later, um, her friend, who I actually liked more than that girl, so like I was kind of picking like I was settling,
Mm, mm,
But she comes up to me and I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was something along the lines of like, um, so you ratted on her for her drugs in her locker? Like she had some like some I don't it was like some pills in her locker or some shit.
mm.
And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And she was like, "That's why she like broke up with you is cuz you did that, like because you ratted on her and the dean found her shit."
Did you?
No, I had no idea. I was just like, "Oh, lucky break, I guess." A good way to break up with a girl. She thinks you did something and you have no idea, and it just kind of ends over text.
Damn, that sucks for you though, because that makes everybody. That kind of makes you look like a piece of shit to everybody.
Well, I guess, yeah, probably. Like, she probably told a bunch of people I did that, and like, I totally didn't, and nobody like
I
went.
was just you just making shit up about you.
No, no, no. She got busted, but it wasn't by me.
Yeah, well,
Like, she went to a different school after that. So,
lucky break.
that you know what? We might be figuring out some of the reasons why people didn't talk to me in high school. We might be
Yeah,
figuring it out. Because for a while I was just like, I know I'm not the most normal person, but like nobody fucking wants to hang out with me. Yeah.
it's because I thought you were ratting about pills and lockers. Like,
Apparently, apparently, there's probably more shit just like that where I was just blissfully ignorant.
yeah. Well, the more you know, hey.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of those problems. I was very popular in high school. But no,
Yeah,
I'm
I could
joking.
tell by your fucking the show you put on. I was like, holy shit, all these people are like friends with Avery.
Those weren't even mostly my friends. I have like a very small group of friends, but they have a
But they
lot of
have a lot of
friends.
friends.
It's funny. I happen to be friends with like many popular people,
Well,
but
all the
I'm not
people that were
popular.
there looked like the exact type of people that would want to go to like some quaint backyard event.
It's like a mix of like UAB frat people and
Really?
like
Hmm.
arty art school
That's
kids
what I
and
thought
shit
all of
like
them were.
that.
I thought all of them were people that couldn't afford LA.
It was a mix. It's a weird mix. That's
Interesting.
that's me. My friends are either like freaking weirdos or like the most popular dudes on earth. And then there's you, Lane, of course, too. Probably fits
Which
somewhere
one
in the
do?
middle.
Yeah,
You're
some.
somewhere in the middle. I wouldn't call you either the most popular dude on earth
No, I'm
or a
not popular
weirdo
at
or a
all.
freak. Well, I'm not popular either, so yeah, we're in the
No.
same boat there.
Dude, I've tried to throw like parties so many times where like I would get snacks, I would get like drinks, I would get like
Mm.
all the things you need for like a pretty dope party. Lights, a fucking good sound system, fucking pong table. I would do all the shit and then like no one would show up ever.
That
So
sucks.
like
Yeah.
I've done stopped like trying to throw a party because it's it's clear all the people that say they're my friends don't actually want to show up to my events. So
I don't know if that's true. You do have friends. A lot of
why the
people
fuck
like
else would
you.
that happen?
Well, people are assholes
I
sometimes.
tell them I got drinks, I've got all the shit that like is at any other party. Just come here and do it.
That's true. I just am trying to find a way to end this where it doesn't, where you don't feel.
Oh, well, I don't hit
Just,
myself. Yeah,
just sorry,
sorry.
you feel basic, but I don't want to.
I was just shooting you down.
It's
Just
fine.
be like, no, dude, I need to kill myself.
I just don't want to make you feel bad. I'm trying to help you
No,
out.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. No, you're good. Uh, yeah.
Fucking hell.
Well, we got
Yeah.
10 minutes. We're trying to hit the full hour. 10 minutes left.
Oh, we do? Dude, this shit is flowing by.
Yeah, this is probably the best.
This
This
is
is
the
the
first
best
time
one we've
it's
done in
flown
a
by.
while. So good for that.
You got any other stories? I got a few more.
Stories about like stand up or
Anything at this point. I mean, embarrassing comedy stories, work stories. Any embarrassing breakup stories? Any
no, my breakups have always been like I don't know, not very funny.
just kind of either boring or horrible.
Kind of sad actually. Like
Yeah.
most of yeah, I wouldn't really say funny. So no, nothing on there. I have a funny well, I have a few funny like drug stories.
Are they funny?
Well, one of them is just like this time I took acid. No. I'm sorry. The funnier story. Actually, you might find this funny. So after actually the first night I ever did stand up, which was back in October, was on a Friday, and I
Was
had
it
like
Friday, Mike?
there was. I had a bunch of like old friends come into town to like see me do stand up, and they like a bunch of people I've known for years were there and like supported me and shit. And afterward, I felt really good afterwards. So like afterwards, we all went back to this girl's place, and I had this friend who she like was like, hey, I have an edible shroom thing. That do you want it? And I was like, yeah, do you want to split it? And she was like, well, it's not really enough to split. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just like ate the whole thing, which I was probably rude. I shouldn't have, but so I ate shrooms, and it was the first night I did comedy, and like it was just all these people in this girl's house, and it was like genuinely maybe the most uncomfortable moment of my life because I was on like an ego trip after that because I did well.
Oh, so you were like, I'm the best.
I did
I'm
well
the greatest. I'm about to start my comedy career.
I did well my first night. And then I started like flirting with people there, like people I shouldn't have been flirting with, like girls I had known for like years,
Oh.
like a really long time. I started trying to be like Mr. Personality around him and shit like
You
that.
got that kind of. So now you know what happens when you get famous is that you're gonna get some
I know.
cojones.
It was very awkward, and
Now you know who you turn into.
yeah, I hope I never get famous for that reason. I'd be an asshole, but like,
Oh
yeah,
no, there's gonna be a day when like when I'm doing a podcast or something, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've been friends with him for a while. I don't know if the allegations are true, but like,
it wasn't anything
I
like
wish him the
that.
best, and if he needs any help, he knows he can contact me.
I didn't rape anybody's. I should.
No, this is way out in the future, Avery.
Yeah. Okay,
This
thank
is
you. So when I will
you
rape
haven't raped
somebody.
anybody yet.
Yeah, but no, and then what happened, which was funny, was I had my one of my best friends in the world there. He's a Jewish guy, and when I get, it's really stupid. When I get like high as hell, I start like trying to solve all the world's problems, and so I turned to him and I was like, "Let's just agree on something." Because in high school he had punched me in the face for saying the K word, kike.
Oh,
He
oh.
punched me in the face for saying the word kike, and we've still been friends after that. But I was like, I turned to him and I was like, would you still punch me in the face if I said that? And he was like, I wouldn't be happy with you. And I was like, kike. And I just like said it to try and test him. And he was like pissed at me for like
Oh,
months
dude.
afterwards. I didn't see him for a while after that. And then I saw him one time later and I was like, yeah, so how you been, man? He was like, yeah, I was really pissed at you for saying that. And I was thinking about not talking to you ever again because of that. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, I decided not to. I'd give you another chance, but I was really mad. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I came
Wait,
very close to losing you as a friend. That's interesting.
kike is a Jewish slur?
It's the slur for Jewish people. Kike,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, well
Now you have that in
now
your
we
back
both said
pocket.
it.
Yeah.
Now we both said it, and we're both fucked.
Yeah, well, nobody's
Uh,
ever
this nobody's
if they do, yeah. If I become famous, I'm gonna become like a fucking recluse because I would not be someone who's good at media.
dude. I'd probably be a little bit like Bobby Lee as well, where I'd be like, I'm just gonna put somebody in charge of that shit
Hmm.
and let them do all of it because I can't. I I, I can't do that in like everything else in my life. I have a very hard time keeping any kind of up to date shit on my Instagram.
Yeah. Well,
But
I was last thing I'll say, I'm just a very bad high person, which is kind of why I don't do it anymore.
I
And then there
was
was this one girl there I started looking at. She's like kind of a not fat, but she was a little chunky, but like she was wearing like a snuggie, and I started looking at her and I was saying like, "You look a lot like the Buddha right now." And I
hmm
started being like very but like nice in kind of a weird way where I was like, "You really remind me of like Buddha because you're very
Oh,
like
dude.
large and you're like wearing like a and I couldn't tell whether she was like mad at me or not. It was funny. Go
Oh,
on.
dude. I just thought of the most like. It's one of these memories that like I only think of like once or twice a year because it's like that uncomfortable.
Mm,
And it like when it hits me, it's just, God damn it, it's the worst thing in my life. All right, so I was dating this girl, and this was freshman year of college. I was dating this girl, and we decided to enter into an open relationship.
those usually work.
Yeah, they usually go super well. And I was like a high fuck. Like I had just started smoking weed, and I was like just a high fuck.
Mm.
And I meet these people out in the hallway of the dorm, and they invite me into the room, and they're having like a party or whatever, and they're talking to me, and I bring that up. I bring that up to like some of the girls, and everyone goes quiet. Everyone goes quiet.
Nice.
And they're like, okay, so we're gonna go now. We have a party to get to.
Oh,
And I
you
was like,
probably could
yeah,
have fucked one of those girls, Lane.
maybe,
You never know.
maybe.
That's actually the most painful thing in life, I think, is thinking
Is
back on
that
times you could have had sex and that you fucked it
and
up.
that you
That really like
and
tears
that
me apart.
you went about it completely wrong.
Mm,
Like you went about it in the worst way possible.
yeah, thinking
Yeah,
thinking back to times where I could have had sex and didn't because of my own failures is like the most.
it's
It
always
makes me want to kill myself.
well, it's the worst kind of rejection, isn't
Mhm.
it?
Well, it's not even that because I've had times where I
Just
was
fucking
I've had times where I was like, "Oh, that's what you're talking about."
yeah.
I saw one of those in my room the other day too.
All right, well, you're not. Or I'm not the only one then. Fuck yeah.
But I had this one. I've had times where like I found out like later that because I like thought that like a girl was like flirting with me, and but I wasn't sure, and I like didn't
Oh,
pursue
that's
it as
the
much as
worst.
I could have. And then they were like, "No, yeah, she like actually really wanted to have sex with you," and I was like,
God,
"Really?"
girls
Because
love
like
to be
not
like
that vibe.
girls love to be like guys are so stupid. They never like catch the hint. But like sometimes it's the exact opposite. Like you think that there's a strong hint there, you think there's something there, and then like there's totally not.
Yeah.
They like bring up
Well,
their
that's why
boyfriend out
it's
of the nowhere or something,
that's why
and
it's
that
hard.
is the worst.
Yeah.
They just bring up their boyfriend or their husband or whatever the fuck.
So, yeah, I think what we're all feeling at the end of this is a strong sense of shame and self-loathing.
I think that's what we did this whole. We just went through all. That's what kind of it was though. Like all the worst moments of our
Just
lives.
the worst times, really, ever.
Yeah.
Nobody should ever be subjected to. In other news, I bought because I make those like frozen hamburgers.
Yeah,
I bought a different brand from Aldi today.
and it's bad,
Not
isn't it?
nearly as good. I
Yeah.
should have just kept getting the Publix ones.
You have to know that like it is all these is cheap stuff.
I know, but I bought. Okay, here's the thing though.
Burgers you can't get. I feel like burgers cheap burgers are not
They're not going to be
really
as good.
good.
I bought clementines from them today, and those are fantastic.
Well, yeah, they're clementines. I mean, they're like
Fair point, but still,
you know
I just
how do you
I
muck
feel
that
like I
up?
got fucking gypped.
So now you know.
Can't really get gypped by Aldi's. I guess that's kind of part of the
No, you're
part of the
paying
brand.
very little money. That's what's awesome about it.
Yeah, yeah, that's all. That's very true. Well,
Anyhow, this has been Two Dudes, One Closet.
use one closet. Signing off.